بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول محمد وعلى آله وصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين وقال تعالى وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. So my dear brothers, inshallah I'm going to teach in this session three things. One is the tafsir of the Quran, and the second is the 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and the third thing is seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they are connected to each other inshallah, so we will see. So the first is tafsir inshallah it will be tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha and the last 10 surahs which most people actually memorize and they know by heart and they read in the prayer. So tafsir of the last 10 surahs from Surah Al-Fil to Surah Al-Nas. So Surah Al-Fatiha and the last 10 surahs. So before I start, actually few things we have to remember about the Quran. How important actually the Quran is. No doubt this is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, if anybody writes a book and you read his book, how happy he becomes. So when you read the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is such a, no doubt such beloved thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there no book in the world is more important than the Quran. There's no doubt about that. There's no book more sound than the Quran. The Quran actually, there's no mistake, nothing to doubt about that. Every single book that has been written by any human being, sometimes there is mistake, sometimes there is inconsistency, there is so many problems. But the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no inconsistency. The Quran said that had it been from anyone else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people have seen so much inconsistency, but there's nothing. Though it talks about so many things, it is not actually something limited. It actually talks about this universe, talks the creator of the universe, talks about the world, about the human being, about the day hereafter, about the death, about the reward, about the action and judgment. So many things the Quran keeps talking, but you never can find from the beginning to the end any inconsistency, neither inconsistency in the message, in the meaning, or the style. The style from the beginning to the end is the same thing, though it has been revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in 23 years, but still it is the same style. So this is no doubt the most important book. That's why there are hadith in Sahih Bukhari and other books of the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ has said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best among you are those who learn the Quran and those who teach the Quran. If you see in the world, there are so many students, people learning this thing, that thing. Among all the students in the world, the best one are those who study the Quran. There are so many teachers. People teach many subjects. Among all the people who teach, many things, among them, the best are those teachers who teach the Quran. So the best students are students of the Quran, and the best teachers are teachers of the Quran. So there is no doubt, because the book is a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what the book does, book actually has come to help people. And the way the Quran introduced the book is Hudal lil Muttaqeen. So the book is a book of instruction. To understand, it actually has come to instruct you certain things. I'll tell you inshallah what is going to instruct. But a book is book of instruction. The creator, the one who created us and the creator the whole universe, he is instructing us how to live in this world and how to use things around that. A book is a book of instruction. Some people do mistake when they take the book as a book of demonstration, that the Quran is going to demonstrate something or prove something. The book has not come for that purpose. The book has come to instruct you. Like for example, when you learning how to drive, so you read the instruction how to drive a car. For anything, when you use anything, any machine, you have instruction. So similarly, the Quran is instruction for the mankind, how to live on the face of the earth and how to use things around that. So never be confused. Problem has been when people who are coming from the sciences and from the philosophy, and they want to read the Quran with the eye of a philosopher or scientist. And since they are in their own field, the first thing they do, prove something. So they think that what Quran must be doing. But when they enter into the Quran, there is no proof. Quran actually starts, first thing is, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, there is no proof. First thing actually you expect is, the Quran should say Allah exists, and what the proof of God is. all those things, but nothing is there. So, and then what happens is they unnecessarily they take the verses of the Quran from out of their context, and they want to prove to you, no, the Quran actually is a book of science. Quran is a book of philosophy. Quran really has rational argument. The Quran really wants to prove something. So they keep doing those again and again. So understand, Quran never claims that it is a book of demonstration. Quran is a book of instruction. That's very clear. Quran is a hudan. It just has come to teach you, book of the teaching. So what is Quran going to teach? Since God has created this universe and the people there, He has put in this earth for the human being everything that they need. Whatever we need in this earth, God has given us. Among the things that we need, food for our body, because if there is no food, how can we survive? So we need to eat and drink. So whatever can be good for the people's eating and drinking and for their health, they can get in this universe. And this is something where believers and unbelievers both get. Actually, even animals get. So in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put everything that people can need. So one of the need is material need. Need that things that you need for your eating and drinking, for food, for your survival as as a human being, as a living animal, whatever you need to, God has given you. But the thing is, human being, they have more than that. We don't have only need for our body, we also have got a mind. So there should be also in this universe, in this earth, things which can help our thinking, our understanding. There should be food for our mind. Either food for our body, there should be food for our mind. And people also have got the spirit soul. So there should be also food for the soul, for the heart of the people, for inside of the people, there should be food for that. This all there is, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must have put the food of every single thing for your body, for your mind, and for your soul in the same universe. But what happens, most people, they only find in this world, in this universe, the food for their body. That most people do, because then that's how they look. So you can see, everybody just looking for food for the body, eating, drinking, what can make more food and more drink, and importing and exporting, everything just comes about that. So when somebody wants to develop their spirituality and their soul, so they think this universe actually is opposite of that. It is only material. So they think the only way they can provide food for their soul is to run away from this universe, to go and take refuge in mountains and the caves and things like that. You leave the world, then you can satisfy your soul. Because they see that people who are in the world, what they do, they satisfy only their body. That's what is there. If you want to satisfy your soul, leave this world. So this really, no doubt, a big mistake. It is really the problem is of not thinking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever He has put a food for your body, in the same place He has also made food for your mind and for your soul. The way is not to run away from the world, the way is to dig deeper. This is actually how. The way is to go deeper. It is same place, everything. So that's why in this matter people really differ. So most people, they look on this universe only at the surface. Though beyond the surface there's another layer, and then beyond that layer there's another layer. The layers deeper and deeper. And Allah's way is whatever more precious, you need to dig more and more deeper. That's how He does it. So in first eye you can see, for example, if you go and see Taj Mahal. So in the first eye when you see, everybody will get impression that it is a really impressive building. It is so beautiful. But then after that, just remain there, reflect more, little deeper, you can see actually that how much work has been done there, what the mind behind that is. Then you think more and more, you can see actually, you can find more and more beauty. Like for example, you come to the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ here, now this new architecture you can see. The first thing everybody can see, it is beautiful building. But if you go deeper and deeper, you can find actually more and more aspects of the beauty in the building. So that how Allah Ta'ala has done this world. So in this world, no doubt, the first layer is the food for the body, because that actually everybody needs. If that is not there, people will die. But the second layer is also the food for the mind. And the third layer is the food, or third layer, or deeper than that, actually the food for your soul and for your spirit, for your inside, for which you want to survive. You need to go deeper and deeper. This actually what happens. That's why the problem actually remains for many people. So you can say most people, Like farmers, the only thing they know how to produce food. And people of the business trade, the only thing they know actually how to make more money. So most people are on the first layer. Then you can see the philosophers and the scientists, they come to the second layer as well. They think, we have got a mind, let's think really. And does it make sense or not? And really, they, whatever they do, amazing. If you look actually, read what philosophers and scientists have produced and how much effort they have done, it's really amazing. Okay, each one of them have been doing, the effort. For example, if we start, what we know among the philosophers, the very first time actually we know is the Greek philosophers. There have been philosophers before that and also in other regions. We don't know so much about them, but Greek philosophers, we know about them. And all of them, from the beginning until last one among them, Aristotle. These people really, whatever they have written or whatever they have thought, how they are reasoning, it's so impressive and so amazing. And no doubt those knowledge people always need. Similarly, later on the philosophers came in every nation, and then modern scientists, how much work they have done, we can see, and how much innovation there. It is so impressive. But this is not all that we need. It is no doubt one layer more. It is actually one step further. But there are third step really. Third step is there are more serious questions. So no doubt philosophers have got certain reasoning. Whenever they see in this world, they want to see how things are, how they're working. So they want to understand the cause and effect. They want to understand how things are and where they lead, and how things have come as much as they need. So this is very important information. But there is something more deeper than that. Deeper. That what they don't look at that. What deeper than that actually is that you have seen things, because what happens at the end of the day, when the philosophers and scientists they think deeper, they still actually materialist, because they use their mind basically to help the body. Instead of helping the mind, actually mind becomes slaves of the body. So you become impressed by what they have done, but what they do actually, what they produce, what is helping. Think really that what scientists at the moment, whatever they're inventing, latest invention, helping what? It's not going to help mind, it's going to help the body. Because if you want to help for mind, don't invent these things. Because you invent these things, you make mind idle. When they invent all the mobile phones, things like that, do you think this makes people more clever? Anything that people invent, at the end of the day, it is actually food only for your desire basically. Your eating and drinking, this desire. It does not make you a better human being. It does not make you actually a better thinker. It does not make you. Still actually what happens is the mind remains a slave of the body. When people go to the third layer of the thinking, then what happens is the body and the mind both become the slaves of the soul. The real thing you discover. And that's why you can see the prophets as messengers, their thinking always have been much deeper. Because they know this is just desire. To any prophet or messenger you can see actually, when they think in this world, they think much deeper. And they spend time that. They think why we are here at the end of the day. No doubt people need to think, but why we are here, why we have got a mind, what does really, what this thinking means. Do we have mind to think how to improve our food? So some people actually have basic food, and some people actually make nice curry and this and that. That's why mind has come. Our mind actually something better. So many people use their mind actually just improve the condition of the living on the face of the earth. But the real people, they think no, mind is precious. It must really tell us more than that. So that's what they think. So and they keep finding answer. So and the Quran actually has mentioned in this matter the stories of Ibrahim Islam so clearly. A thinking prophet, he comes. So you can, I always give example that you can see it's very obvious that Newton, in Cambridge, to how he's thinking. We don't know how true the story is, but anyway, that sitting underneath of an apple tree, an apple falls upon him, and then he discovers, the law of gravity, and no doubt he works on that actually on what, and this law actually no doubt has been very beneficial for the humanity. But at the end of the day, what benefit actually is more material. But he did not ask question beyond that. The question beyond that actually remains all the time is that who made this law? Who made us? Who made the apple? Who made the food? Why he made? You just have found answer for a very simple question. But the questions which are bigger than that, why we are here, he never thought. He never make effort to find an answer. The prophets and messengers, they go deeper than that. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he's thinking so much and he does not find answer. He wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him. Same Ibrahim alayhi salam. To first understand properly. The first thing is, I made clear that in this universe, some people think there is the food only for the body. And then when they want the food for their soul, they leave the universe and they go and take refuge into mountains and the caves. They think if you leave the world, then your soul will become much better. So this is a mistake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has produced in this world food for your body, for your mind, and for your soul. Actually, every same apple which can provide food for your body, same apple also has food for your mind. Just think really how it is made. And same apple also provide food for your soul. Think really who made it? Don't you need to thank him? And why he respects you so much that he created such a nice thing? To just go deeper. So the first aspect is apple is food for your body. Second aspect is deeper. Apple is food for your mind, thinking. It provides you thinking. And the third one is even deeper than that. It connects you with your creator and thank him. So it is food for every single thing. So we don't need to be like many of those religions like Hinduism, because they used to think if you want to develop your soul and work on your soul, leave the world. They go mountains and caves and go deeper and don't wear clothes and don't have bath, don't clean yourself, and sometimes just stand on one leg and whole your life. That actually many Hindus have been doing. And then the second leg, actually they think if you harm your body, you become nearer to God. That's how they used to think. And still now they're thinking, so they want to harm their body. Some people, they think if you live in this earth, it is so dirty, so they live on the tree. They never come down. So they think if they live in the tree, that's better. So this basically, all the things, because what they see the people, because they misuse the world. The Islamic way is this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made complete world. Complete world for the purpose for which he made. This is not complete world for every single thing, but it is complete and interesting world for the sake, for the purpose for which Allah made the universe and for which he made the human being. There are other things which we get in the hereafter. This world actually is complete and sense. And also he made it interesting. Like you read in Surah Rahman how he produced the fruits and how he made the ocean and how from the oceans comes a lu'lu wal marjan, the pearl and precious stone. He made interesting world. It's not, in one way it could have been just throwing the fruit from the heaven on the ground and go and pick. No, he makes nice trees, and from the trees the fruits come nicely packed. You take nicely, respect for you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given everything nicely, with beauty and respect. He made the world interesting for you. When you read many Sufis, so they will make the world uninteresting. They think world is not interesting. It's not like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the world interesting actually and properly and with full respect. So that keep in mind. And second thing is that most people only look the first layer. They only get the first layer of information. Their information deeper and deeper. Second layer, third layer. Like for example, when you look your parent. So first way is okay. Yeah, very material looking. That's why many people don't respect their parents. They say they basically that that biologically that what happened anyway. Every human being comes from male and female. But if you go deeper and deeper, you have more and more respect for them. That how much they have done for you. So people need to think properly. What Quran does? Quran really, that's what Quran does. Quran corrects your thinking. Quran makes you to think properly. If you read a book of philosophy, it helps you to certain kinds of thinking, which at the end of the day make you actually just go in cycle. Just same material thinking. Quran wants to correct your thinking. Quran wants to guide you. So Quran is the book of instruction. If you think the way the Quran has taught the people to think, then their the life becomes more precious. Then they go deeper and deeper. That's why you can see in the Quran the most words actually are about that thinking. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ. Don't they think? Don't you look around? Looking around, go deeper and think properly. So the Quran is book of thinking. Quran basically is a book which makes people to think properly, go deeper, understand, think properly, raise the right questions, and make effort to find the right answers. Most people, they only have smaller questions. Quran wants to present to you the real question, the big questions. The big why you are here, the big questions of that. So first thing keep in mind that this world has food for your body, for your mind, and for your soul. And the second thing is people need to, think properly, not just like a superficial people, not like just about the people who are philosophers or like poets. Poets actually also think, but the thinking is just one-sided. They can look at the rose and they can make some meaning, but that meaning also is very, very limited. So real thinking is thinking of the prophets, messengers, siddiqeen, those who are thinkers. The name of the thinkers in the Quran has come siddiqeen, siddiq. That's why the Quran said about Ibrahim innahu kana siddiqan nabiyya. What sadaqah means? Sadaqah means the one, sidq means truth. The one who is true, meaning is his mind, his thinking, his action, everything, they agree with each other. He thinks properly, he acts properly, he moves properly, he speaks properly, everything has truth. So thinking properly. Most philosophers, they are true in one aspect and they lie in other aspects. You can see so clearly. In one aspect, they're so good, but in other aspect, they just make a story. They don't know really. They don't ever think. They make a story. They are not true. Philosophers and scientists, they are not siddiqeen. They are not true. But people become impressed by them because you think, this person, such a nice and such an amazing person in mathematics. So he must be good in every single thing. It is not true. You can see really, some people that are very good in something, but not good in every single thing, other things. So philosophers and scientists, they are good in one small or minor aspect, but rest of their life, they are not good. So that way they are not siddiqeen. Prophets and messengers, they are siddiqeen because in every single thing, they do things properly. So they think properly, they act properly, they say things which are true. So their tongue, their action, and their mind, all those three, they agree in the truth properly. Is it clear? So let me summarize again and then inshallah move. The first thing is, when people think this world is only food for your body, they are wrong. The world is food for your body, for your mind, and for your soul, all three. For the soul, you don't need to leave the world and go to mountains or the cave. No, within the same world, you can actually, help to develop your body and soul and mind, all three. Second thing I mentioned is that people need to think. And the people who we know as thinkers, like philosophers and scientists, their thinking is very superficial and very limited, very tiny. They don't make an effort to find the answer of the many, many more important questions. So thinking basically not consistent. Their thinking is inconsistent. The prophets and messengers are people whose thinkings are consistent. They think about every single aspect properly, and the questions which are more important, they give them more time. More time and more effort to understand them. So that, and other way you consider it, Ibrahim alayhi salam and, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Idris alayhi salam, these prophet messenger, they are consistent in their thinking, or consistent the thinking in the action and the speaking. And that way they are called what? Siddiqeen. So Siddiq means somebody who is consistent in thinking, in the action, in the speaking. So Ibrahim alayhi salam's title in the Quran is innahu kana siddiqan nabiyya. He was true, consistent thinker, in every single thing. And then also he received the knowledge from the heaven. If we look in the Quran in that way, then Quran will help you. Where Quran has come to correct your thinking. When you study the universe, study keeping in mind the major questions, the big questions. The Quran is going to help you. And that's why the Quran brings the stories from the prophets, those stories which can help you either in your mind, or for your soul, or for your body, for your action, for anything. So the Quran keeps bringing. Now next thing as I mentioned, since the Quran is not a book of demonstration, Quran is rather a book of what? Instruction. So once it becomes very clear, so you can see what Quran is instructing. When you learn this thing, then you follow what Quranic instruction. Then you don't impose on the Quran your own thinking. When people don't realize that Quran is a book of instruction, they want to impose on the Quran, their own method of thinking. They think, a proper book actually will discuss these things. And since Quran does not discuss these things, so they impose on the Quran those questions and those meanings. Really so much is stupid thing you cannot imagine. Like people read, especially Imam Razi, when he does his tafsir of the Quran, most places actually he goes so wrong. Reason is because he has got his own mind properly. This is actually how people should think, and this is actually what right questions are, right answers. When he comes to the Quran does not, Quran is not like that. So then he imposes his own thinking on the Quran. So for example, Quran is in very nicely. Quran says, "Allah nuru samawati wal ard." Actually, this verse actually is very amazing verse of the Quran. It has certain meaning, but these people, they don't want to take the meaning from the Quran. They want to give the meaning from their own thinking. So they take meaning from the society or from their own knowledge, and they give that meaning to the Quran. So Quran says, "Nurun ala nur," light upon the light. It is very clear in the Quran what it means. But for Razi, it is not clear. Because for Razi, only light he knows is a light of philosophy. Because philosophy is the only thing which guided him. So he said, Quran also can be light, revelation. So there are two lights, a light of philosophy and light of revelation. Nurun ala nur means light of the philosophy combined with the light of revelation. Think properly. Where to do philosophy in this verse of the Quran? Context does not, nothing actually proves that. That one of the great Indian scholar, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Rahimahullah Ta'ala, he has written tafsir of the Quran, not complete, but very long muqaddimah of the Quran, introduction. He says many of these people, they could not raise themselves to the level of the Quran. So what they did, they made the Quran to come down to their own level. To reach to the level of the Quran, you need to have effort. They don't want to make that effort. So what they do, they bring the Quran to their own level. So people like Imam Ghazali, Imam Ghazali also actually wrote a whole book, Mishkatul Anwar, on the meaning of this verse of the Quran, Allah Nur Samawati wal Ard. If you read the whole Risala, nothing to do with Quran. It basically, if you are an intelligent person, you can create any meaning from anywhere. Nothing to do what Quran is saying. So this actually, this is wrong thing. Respect of book Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is that you come to the Quran, take meaning from the Quran. That's why it was very important. The Quran was revealed to a Nabi al-Ummi, a Nabi who could not give meaning to the Quran, who only can come to the Quran to take from it, not to give to it. Had the Prophet been a philosopher, then he would have made effort to give the meaning to the Quran. He was Ummi. He has no background of this knowledge. So for him actually, Quran is the source of every knowledge. He takes from the Quran. He does not give to the Quran. Like Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. When you come to Allah, do you want to give him anything or you want to take from him? Think properly. When you pray, do we give to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala something or we take from him? We come to Allah to take from him. To come to book of Allah for what purpose? To give it to something or you want to take from it? Take from it. Come to the Quran to take from the Quran, not to give to the Quran. So that actually the mistakes all the time. That way, when you read the Quran, think properly. For example, when the Quran is started with Surah Al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So don't think, we should start a book with this thing. Why Quran start like that? The Quran must be meaning something else. No. Think properly. When the Quran starts with Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, then there must be reason. Take meaning from the Quran. So my second point actually here is that whenever you read the book of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, don't take meaning from the society, don't take meaning from the philosophy, don't take meaning from the sciences, don't take meaning from the fuqaha, from the muhaddithin, don't take meaning from anybody, take meaning from the Quran. And that actually what probably also happened, I always keep teaching that when people read verses in the Quran about the women, so they take the verses and then they take meaning from where? From the society. And the corruption happened. Because the women in the society has another meaning and the women in the Quran have another meaning. So people are confused. So whenever you read something in the Quran, take meaning from the Quran. Is it clear? So now think really that when the Quran is starting, the first surah in the Quran is starting in Surah Al-Fatiha. One should think really why Quran make this. We should understand from the Quran why Quran wants to make the first surah Surah Al-Fatiha. And why that first surah is started with the word Alhamd. People should be expecting that when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala started his book, first he should say who is the author. And who he is. He should introduce himself. In this Quran does not mention who is the author. Quran does not mention who he is. Instead of that, the Quran is telling you what you need to do. Praise him, thank him. Just think. Quran does not tell you whose book is this. Quran does not tell you that what is proof that he exists. Quran does not tell you what is proof that book is from him. First thing Quran tells you, thank him, praise him. Just learn actually what Quran was to teach. Take meaning from the Quran. If you understand this thing, you really understand really how this world is. That's why many preachers, many du'at in Muslim world, and especially in Western world, they keep doing this mistake. They think really that they need to prove that God exists. If they prove, then the people become believer. That's what they do. Spend debating and discussing, useless matter. Because it is not the matter of the proof. Had it been the matter, the Quran will start with the proof. And just think, if the proof of God's existence, that's what makes people believer, then don't you think Shaitan should be the first believer? Shaitan has more proof of God than anybody else. Is there any doubt that Shaitan knows God? Iblis' knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is much more than ours. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to him directly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him, he speaks with him directly. And he talks with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iblis has no doubt about his existence. But still Iblis is the worst kafir on the face of the earth. There's no kafir worse than Iblis. And Iblis is the one who does not need any proof. He knows God more than any philosopher, he knows more than anybody else. But he's the worst person. So it tells you very clearly that people don't need in this world for being believer the proof of God. They need something else really. What they need? They need nobility of the heart. They need really this nobility that somebody has given me. So if you come to somebody's house and he offers you something, gives you something, you become grateful, thankful. Once the thankfulness is, it will make you to go and thank him. You will work hard. If you grown up in your house, you will think really, my mother and my father, how much they have been doing for me. The nobility of your heart will make you to serve them, to look after them, to obey them, to listen to them, not to hurt them, not to harm them. In this universe, when you open your eye, really what happens is you see all the time you are dependent. The first thing that everybody knows in this world is what they see? Dependent. When a child is born, isn't he dependent? Can a child survive on his own? Do we think he's independent? Nobody on the face of the earth believes that the child is independent. Everybody believes he is dependent. He depends on his mother, he depends on the sun, on the moon, on the earth, on the water, on everything that is here. And then whatever he depends on, they also depend on something else. He depends on his mother, because if mother is not there, who is going to give him milk? But think properly, is mother independent? If the mother is in desert and she herself has no food and no water, can she provide milk to her child? The mother herself is dependent. Everybody is born in this world, they can see they are dependent. And all those around them, they depend on them. But also those things on which they depend on something else. The world basically is like that. If anybody who opens the eye, they can see properly. That way one of the lie they keep teaching in the school is that you are independent. It is lie. It's not true. Because it is truth of matter is that nobody is independent. I give this example that if you ask a child, just 4, 5, 6 year old, 7 year old, make a cup of tea. They say, it is so easy. I can go and make a cup of tea. It is so easy for me. It is not so easy. To make a cup of tea, before that you need the whole universe to exist. Could you make a cup of tea if there had been no sun? Could you make a cup of tea had there been no earth? It's not so easy. Allah SWT made all this thing, so you think it is easy. This cup of tea, it needs the whole universe to exist before that. So think really how much Allah has given. The belief in Allah comes from the heart of gratefulness. Once you really know that you are overwhelmed by all the favors upon you, really you need to thank the one who has given, then it makes a believer. But if you don't feel like that, even if somebody proves God exists, what? You have no relevance to him. You don't want to know him anyway. Why you want to know him? The Quran actually coming from the right thing. Right thing is to understand that you are dependent on in this world. When you are born, you are dependent, and you remain dependent on your life, and you remain dependent until you die. Always dependent. And all the things that you depend on, they are also dependent. So then you are looking for one who actually helps everybody, on which everyone depends, and then you thank him. Then you find the one who created you. You find the one who created you and your mother and your father. You find the one who created the earth and the sky and the heaven. You find the one actually who caused everything to exist and caused everything to die. You look for someone who actually gives the water, who brings the food from the trees, who make everything. You find for him because you want to thank him that he has given so much. That's why the first verse of the Quran is what? Alhamd. Because that's what everybody wants. When people are bored, they want to thank. They want to thank the one who has given. So Quran is teaching you, thank to who? That's why I told you that Quran is a book of instruction, not the book of demonstration. It has come to instruct you how to behave in this world. So the first thing that people need in this world really is, because so much they have got, they want to find one who gave everything, they want to thank him. So the word Quran said, Alhamd. In Arabic language, for this purpose we have got many words. Sometimes you thank someone, sometimes you praise someone. What difference between both of them is? Difference is that if I ask you, bring a glass of water, and you bring the glass of water to me, I am going to praise you or thank you? Thank you, because it's not a big praiseworthy thing anyway. If you just bring a glass of water, it's not a big thing you have done that I'm going to write a poetry for you and a poem for you, praise. No, just thank you, something like that. So sometimes people thank but do not praise. But sometimes you praise. For example, you listen a big poetry, good poet of like Persian language, Firdausi. He wrote Shahnama, so nice and all the Mathnavi Mawaroom, such a great poet. So you praise him, but you not necessarily thank him, because not necessarily you have got something directly from him, but you praise him, how much he have achieved. So sometimes people do things for which they deserve praise, and sometimes people do things for which they need to be thanked. So in the language you have got two words, thanking and praise. In Arabic language, for the praise we have got madah. So when you praise someone, you say madah. And for thanking, you have got what? Shukr, thanking. But Allah is different. Allah, whatever he does, you have to thank him and also you praise him. So when you give me water, I only thank you. When Allah gives me water, I thank him and also praise him. Why? Because he has given me water, I thank him. I got favor from him and I praise him, because the creation of the water is amazing. It's not easy. Creation of the water and creation of the need of the water, creation of the thirst. If he did not make me thirsty, did I appreciate the water? He created the thirst in my heart. So now I become thirsty, and then by drinking water, my thirst is quenched. You see how much he has done. So every single that he does, he deserves to be praised and he deserves to be, to be thanked. So you need in language a word for him, where actually word is combined between the thanking and praise both. If you do shukr of him, that's good, it is reward. If you praise him, that's also he deserves. So you have to say two words, amdahullaha wa ashkuruhu. For this purpose in Arabic language, they have got one word which combines both meanings, that hamd. Hamd basically means al-jam'un bain al-madah wa shukr. Hamd means praise and thank both. Because when you open your eye, you're not only thanking your Lord, you need to also praise him. How much, come to sea. When you come to ocean, you really see the power and the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not only going to thank him, you want to praise him, how much you have done. When he made my eye, I want to thank him, with the eye I can see, but I also want to praise him, how nice he has done. He knows where to put my eye and how to make it and how make it to see. For every single thing he has done to me, I want to praise him and I also want to thank him. So the first thing that any noble person, anybody who got noble heart, first thing they do in this universe is what? To praise and to thank the one who has made this thing. That's why you see the Quran is so great. That's why when you do da'wah, don't prove God exists. You need to raise in the heart of the people. You need to thank. Look what you have got. Don't look, Allah exists or not. Look about yourself, what you are. Do you exist or not? Who made you to exist? Look about yourself. Don't look about God. Look who you are. Why you are here. The first question about yourself. That's why Iqbal said that if you ask me the proof about God, I ask you proof about yourself. Who you are. Leave God. Once you know yourself, what will happen is you know God. That's why they say in Urdu language, खुद शनासी खुदा शनासी का पहला कदम है. Knowing yourself is the first step to know your Lord. First thing, know yourself. Once you know yourself, you'll just love to thank and praise, and then you know Him. So Alhamdulillah. That's why Quran comes actually. Hamd. Hamd is the first thing in the Quran that you need really to teach your children to thank. First thing, any noble human being, what they need to learn actually thanking. This is so deep in their heart. They want really to bow their head. They want to fall in sajda. That's why every messenger, in their life, they're looking for one who they can do sajda. They want to worship the Lord. That's why the thirst for every, that I'm saying, there is, people have need for food. People have material need. People have the food for their mind. Food for the body, for the soul is ibadah. People need to thank their Lord. If that is not there, the soul remains thirsty and hungry all your life. You need food and drink. You need something to think for your mind. But really, you need to worship Him. If you don't worship Him, you remain thirsty. You really think your life has no meaning, no sense. You like to commit suicide. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he's 40-year-old, he's just looking fun. The Prophet Ibrahim, all the Prophet Messenger, all the noble people, what they do, they feel thirsty, they feel hungry, to worship their Lord. Hamd is actually that food. Hamd is actually the first food that soul needs. Hamd is the food for your body, food for your soul, and food for your mind. Hamd is not only soul. Actually, sometimes if you are hungry, if you praise your Lord, that will be enough for your body food. Hamd can be, when you say La ilaha illallah, Allah dhikr, it is not only dhikr for your soul, it's really for your mind. It also for for every single thing. Allah, the name really is helpful for anything. So the first thing that Quran is teaching is what? Hamd. And it is not only first thing, Quran also teach wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. The hamd is the first thing in the Quran, and hamd also the last thing. And when the believers will enter to paradise, what they will say? Hamd. Hamd is the survival for the human being. As you need food for you, you need hamd all the time. Without the hamd, you cannot survive. Your soul really basically in pain unless it does hamd. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He taught you Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, He basically cured your soul from this pain. Without hamd, the soul is in full pain. That's what you need really. And once you get hamd, you don't need a proof, because that's what you're looking for. Once you get what you're looking for, you know properly. So anyway, I don't want to make much longer because we have some time for question and answer, inshallah. So let me summarize again. The first thing I mentioned to you, and write it down, always helpful. The first thing I mentioned is most people, they think in this universe, they have got only food for the body. So I said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the universe where there is food for the body, for the mind, and for the soul, for all three. For the food of the soul, you don't need to leave the world and go to mountains or the caves. Within the wet world, you can find the food for everything. But what you need to do is thinking. Think properly. And thinking actually many layers. Thinking of the common people, lay people, they don't think much deeper. Thinking of the philosophers and scientists. Thinking of the poets. But their real thinking of who? The prophets and messengers, because they are consistent thinking. They raise all the questions, the big one and the small one, and they make effort to find answer for them. So they are consistent. That's why in the Quran they are Siddiqeen. So Siddiqeen are the people who are consistent. They're thinking, in their action and in the amal, in the qawl, and in the nazar. Thinking in every single. When they look, they are consistent. When they act, they are consistent. When they say, they are consistent. So that's why you need to have thinking. Once you and then third thing I told you that Quran is a book of instruction. Quran has come to instruct you, not to prove something. Instruction. And the first instruction Quran is giving you, that you need the food for your body and for your soul, for your mind, to find one to whom you can thank, because you are born as dependent. So once you realize this really, you become satisfied. Once you actually can see when people fall in sajda, they are so happy you cannot imagine. And when people say Alhamdulillah, they become happy really. Without Alhamdulillah, when you drink water and you say Alhamdulillah, something missing really. Using the favor, but you don't know the Creator. That's why many people say the difference between believers and unbelievers is very little. And believers and unbelievers both know the creation. But believers connect the creation with the Creator, and unbelievers don't connect. Believers and unbelievers both use the ni'mah, the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the believers connect the ni'mah with the mun'im, with the one who made the favor, and unbelievers, they don't make this effort. This is a difference. Hamd has come to connect you with the Creator. Hamd has come to connect you with the mun'im. You have ni'mah, but you want to know who is the mun'im. You have the creation, but you want to know who is khaliq. That's what difference is. So unbelievers, they don't want to make any step. They just want to happy with the ni'mah. But believers, no, they're thinkers. They want to know who has given them. So they want to find the Mun'im, they want to know the Khaliq. The difference. That's why the first word, no doubt, should be Hamd. The first true word that people need to say from their heart is Hamd. Hamd for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, I explain that inshallah, and tomorrow inshallah, maybe the day after, we'll inshallah make effort to finish the Surah Al-Fatiha inshallah. But if you have any question, please ask.
Just very quickly, if we can kindly use the mics for the brothers, the red mic, and sisters, if you have any questions, you can use this mic inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. You mentioned two things. That one was about the Hamd, that its prioritization in terms of it's the opening surah, and it's mentioned. But is that the tartib of revelation anyway? We know that the Makki surahs are, Surah Al-Alaq and so on, and then varying differences on the surah that came after that. So the question really is that when we mention Alhamd, that one of the things I read is that the way the Quran was dealing with the kinds of questions that people were asking is that it's quite dismissive of just saying that it came from nowhere. Because most people, even in the Quraysh, if they were asked where did things come from, the rain come from, or all of these sort of provisions, they would say it comes from Allah. But they would not attribute other things as well, and saying that they would make partners besides him on that. So that's the kind of first question about the fact that is that really negating the discussion of proving the existence of God, but rather a combination of proving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists in a way that agrees with the way man perceives the world, and then also answering the more as important question of who do I thank for these things, that these ni'am that I am obviously benefiting from. And I think the second quick question, was to do with the issue about proving God. Is it that more to do with that we prove the makhluk, that we prove that things are actually created, and these are things that refer to the proof of God? Because I don't think people discuss this because they think that this is a way to prove Islam is true, but more to do with the fact that this is an argument that is put against Islam, and it's kind of refuting or dealing with this challenge that we face today. And we've seen in the past many challenges came, and the Muslims, the ulama, they responded within the confines of that type of questioning.
Thing really is actually there are few things actually. I don't think I could have covered every single thing. The first thing actually is many people think that the people are born in this world as unbeliever. So they are just empty, nothing is there. So you want to write down on their heart every single thing. So this actually is one of the big mistakes that people have got. It is not like that. People actually are born in this world with the need for anything that they need. So when a child is born, does he learn any proof that he needs to have the milk of the mother? What makes him to long for the milk of the mother? Somebody asked one of the tabi'i that since when you start thinking? He says, since the day I was born. People said, how? He said that when they put the breast of my mother in my mouth, I became happy and I became quiet. And when they took it away, I started crying from the first day. What makes people to? Is there any proof? And the problem actually, people think that people are born like that. People actually born with the true nature. People are born believers basically. What happens is somehow this thing has been in some families, some influence of cultures and tradition. It is actually sometimes it is either change or corrupted. So what Quran wants to raise it and make it healthy, the heart healthy. Quran keeps reminding. So one of the names of Quran, reminder. Keep reminding that Allah is your Lord. He created you. Though people don't believe, the reason they don't believe is not because it is deep in their heart. It is not deep. It is actually on the surface. Deep something else is. So Quran wants to raise again. So simple thing in this matter really is the people are born with the belief in their Lord. Quran has come to help that fitrah. Quran does not come to write something new or fresh on the heart. Quran has come only to remind people what are already written there. And when people look in the universe, when Quran reminds them, it actually again supports the fitrah itself. So people, the real argument actually in the Quran is the fitrah. Without the fitrah, nothing matters. People's fitrah is to thank the Lord. People's fitrah is to thank the one who make favor. So that actually is very, very important to understand. Quran, actually, I tell you, if you don't need anything, Even if somebody believes, somebody proves, you're not, not interested. So, for example, like in these countries where it's hot, you need cooler and these machine, that machine we can provide you, can make a house cool and fresh. But and you can sell these coolers in India for for a lot of money. But if somebody brings that cooler into England, in London, in the winter, and he makes a big exhibition and he proves that it is so useful, so beneficial for the people, nobody's going to buy, because people have no need for that. There's no need there. Quran wants to to make clear, it's not that you prove to something to people. You need to urge the need. You have to raise that thing. People really, once you know, for example, if you are thirsty, you will look for water. But if somehow you don't know what thirst means, and somehow you only know that thirst means that you just keep eating sand. So what you need to show. If somebody brings water to you and show you, and then after that, what happened? You will start drinking water. Quranic way is that people's nature is true nature. They are born believers. Somehow the family, the tradition, the culture, and things around, they have corrupted and changed. Now Quran wants to raise that fitrah again. The Quran has come only to support the fitrah. That actually what the people need fitrah, people need irada, the will to do that, and then knowledge. Because 4 things that people need. If people get the 4 things, then people's life is guided. First thing, fitrah. The fitrah that you are thirsty. Second thing is the will to find what can quench your thirst. Will. So, and then when you have will, then right source, right knowledge. You ask someone who can tell you where the water is, what can quench your thirst. Knowledge. And the 4th thing, then when you get the water, drink it. So people need 4 things. The first thing is fitrah. That fitrah that you want to worship your Lord. You just want to thank someone who has given you. The second thing, will, to find who actually has given all those things to you. So you go to right knowledge, and that is revelation. And for after a messenger, to get 3rd thing is ilmul wahi, you get. And once you get it, then 4th thing is, then do it. So for example, if I know the honey is so good for my health, and I make effort and go and buy it and bring it, put on my desk and on my shelf, it's not going to benefit me unless I use it. So 4 things are important. People need right fitrah, people need the irada, the will, people need the ilm, knowledge, and people need the amal. So that what Quran has come to basically support all these 4 properly. If people have no fitrah, then no argument can work, because people don't want to do. Shaitan's problem is his fitrah is so corrupt. He knows God has given everything. Then no need for proof, but he doesn't want to thank him. Never. So he does not have proof. Even if he prove nothing happened, consider many people who became Muslim, ask them why they became Muslim. Abdul Hakim was mentioning his story, nothing to do with proof or anything. Something else actually made him to become Muslim. Many people actually, Iqbal in India, great poet of India, during British rule, he asked one of his disciples, interview all those people, British and others who became Muslim in India, why they became Muslim. So he interviewed 100 people and compiled the book and named Islam Zindabad in Urdu. All the stories you look actually, people became Muslim for so many reasons, but nobody became Muslim because somebody proved to him that God exists. There's nothing like that. Because nature is there, you just need reminder. So that keep in mind. Second thing you ask actually about the order of the Quran, that actually is a very important question, and I don't think we have enough time for that, but inshallah, maybe next time I'll explain to you that what was the order of revelation and what is the order of the book itself, and why both orders are different from each other, and why we need to know the both orders. So the Quran has 2 orders. One order of the Quran is a book, as we have got, and then another order is how it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and why it differ from the order of the book, and why we need to know both of them. So it is important, inshallah. So some other time, inshallah, I'll explain that.
Really brief question. You mentioned someone said many of these people couldn't reach to the level of the Quran. Who was it that said that?
Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. He was, great thinker of India, big scholar. People like Maula Maududi, everybody basically they learned from him. But later he became a politician, so he didn't work much. Otherwise, he was a really great mind of India. So he wrote a tafsir, and he wrote tafsir in the prison. He was in the prison. So, but tafsir is important, but most important actually is his muqaddimah, his introduction. Very, very long introduction.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. I think if there's any, did you have one short question, inshallah? Basically, before we start.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, you mentioned that we should, you gave the example of the philosopher, we should avoid putting our own thinking or our own sort of interpretation, as it were, to the Quran. But then you also mentioned then that we should take meaning from the Quran. So could you please elaborate more on that? How can we, surely our own experiences, etc., when we look at it, would that not naturally sort of encourage us to apply our own thinking to the Quran? When we read a verse, I read it and then maybe we'd reflect on my teachings or my life experiences, and would I not then apply that? So could you please sort of reconcile
No,
the
two different things. Taking the meaning is different and applying different matter. Take a meaning from the Quran and then apply the Quran to your condition, to another matter. That people take the meaning from the Quran. How take meaning from the Quran? Is a certain condition. You know the Arabic language of that time properly. You know how the Prophet understood properly and companions. Once you understand that, then after that make effort to apply. Basically, simple thing is we need to know three things. We need to know the Quran, and we need to learn the Quran, application of the Quran. The first person who applied the Quran, who is he? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So first thing learn Quran, and they learn how the first time it has been applied in this world by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you need to know what? Third thing. The third thing is what? Reapplication. The Quran, application, and then reapplication. So for the application, what you need to know is, for the Quran, you need to know the meaning from the Quran, and you know how, and you also need to know how the Prophet applied it. Then the third step is, then you make effort how to apply it to your condition. What people do, people actually, they miss first two steps. They don't take meaning from the Quran. They don't look at the application of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They ignore all that. They give the meaning from the society, and they want to apply that meaning to themselves. So basically, they are applying their own knowledge to themselves. They are not applying the Quran. Already what they know, they think that something good that they want to prove from Quran. The way is, first understand what Quran is, and the second understand how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam applied the Quran to his life, and then the third step is to apply that to your condition. To the Quran, application of the Quran, and then reapplication. That's what people need to understand. And actually most people in our time, they just leave first two steps. They just want to, they want to make Quran to their own book. Quran has been revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not to you. Is it clear? To understand, take the meaning from the Quran and take application of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's very important how he applied. Learn from that and then apply the Quran to your own condition. It actually needs more detail, like more explanation. I don't think I have time, but inshallah, if next time, inshallah, I'll explain it in more detail, inshallah.